right, let's check out YouTube Studio here.
The scheduled. Get shareable link.
Shareable link. I'm gonna tweet it out.
Yeah. Are you doing the socials this week, Tony? You want me to do one?
I'm doing it on my own
Oh,
channel.
okay.
So if you want to do
All right.
the podcast ones,
Yep.
then
We are live.
okay. I'm just tweeting this out. Boom. All right, and I think we are good to go. Let me look at this live in the control room.
Looks good.
Looks good. You got it up, Harl? Yeah, I got to figure out the schedule stream thing. But anyways, welcome everyone to Follow My Tracers. This is the second episode, even though it's episode 1, because we had episode 0 last week, which was more of an intro episode. So we are live on YouTube here, and I'm one of your hosts, Figure9, aka Tony, and I'm joined by Power Grudge, aka Jim, and Harls. Gentlemen, what's going on?
Yo.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm good.
Wow, so enthusiastic. I want to give a quick thank you to everyone who tuned in for episode 1. I think we had a pretty great response overall. I think we were all happy with it. Obviously lots to improve, but I mean there was a good amount of support from everyone out there, and there was a good amount of views after the fact too. So we're obviously really thankful for that, and we're looking to constantly improve. So if you guys notice anything that we can improve on, or obviously if you like the show, just give us a like, leave a comment, and we'll onwards and upwards from here. So as well, I wanted to put it out there that we are looking for a logo at some point. So if anyone has a cool idea for a logo, or you're kind of like dabbling into graphic design or anything like that, anyone out in the community, and you think you have a cool idea for us, or you think you can make one of our ideas kind of come to life, we're obviously interested in hearing from you. So let us know. And also apologies for the last kind of minute delay yesterday on the podcast. I know we were supposed to start. I was feeling pretty sick last night. I don't know why. I'm good today. But yeah, I was just out of it. So I decided it probably wasn't a good idea to do the podcast, but feeling much better today. Pretty 100%. I don't even feel bad at all. So wanted to do the podcast now. So gentlemen, what have you guys been playing?
Well, as you can see the video for this episode, I started playing Watchdog Legions this week. I didn't play too much past where I recorded, but I am enjoying it a lot so far. I had played the first one when it first came out quite a bit, and never really played the second one. And then I had full intentions of playing through the first two to play Legion, but then it turns out you don't really need to, so I skipped right to it. But so far, I'm really liking it. I have a news article related to it later, but other than that, the big thing I've been playing this week, and I think Harley can relate to it as well, is Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. I've been playing a lot of that this weekend so far, and I am really loving it. What about you, Harley?
Yeah, this past week I've just been playing more Dragon Age, Inquisition, and then starting Saturday, Cold War.
Yeah, you guys have been playing a ton of Cold War. I'm kind of jealous I don't have it, but at the same time, I have lots and lots of games to play. In terms of what I've been playing, I've been kind of hopping around on a bunch of different games, and this will kind of bleed into into our main topic of the episode. But I did in fact get the Series X, and I've been kind of playing games on that and just seeing how things perform, and also spending a lot of time on Gears Tactics, because that's a game I didn't beat on PC, and I kind of intentionally waited for it to come to the Series X so I can experience it in high fidelity, and actually so it performs well. So that's what I've been playing, but also just hopping around. Like I played a bit of No Man's Sky today. We played some Halo 5 yesterday, Call of Duty.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like I've just been kind of hopping around and just seeing how games run and perform on the system, which we'll get to in a little bit. But overall, I'm pretty happy.
I was just about to ask, why are you on No Man's Sky? Wow, but that makes total sense.
There's a a Series X slash Series X optimized patch for it, so it runs like, oh my god, so much better, guys. Like
Huh.
it's insane. It's actually smooth. Everything looks good. Like it's great. So there's an option on it where you can actually you can unlock the frame rate. So on I think on the Xbox One and even on the Xbox One X, the frame rate is locked to 30, but you can unlock
Mm.
it on the Series X, and it's got to be pushing like way more than 60. My display can
Oh,
only
wow.
handle 60, but it never dipped. So like I'm I think it's pushing more than that. I would actually like to see some tech tests out there from people who could do that. I could also plug it into my monitor, I guess, and see, because I have a 144 hertz monitor. I could try it on, but that's kind of what I've been doing anyways. Um, Wanted to remind everyone watching live here on YouTube as well, and that you could ask questions in the chat, and we're gonna do our best to respond live like we did last episode. I think we had a lot of comments last episode, and we had fun interacting with everyone. So anyone who's watching live, feel free to ask us a question, and we'll do our best to kind of respond to you during the show. And then anyone who's watching the VOD on YouTube afterwards, you guys can leave a comment, and we'll do our best to answer you on the next episode in a kind of reader response section. So let's jump into just some news and current events, guys, before we jump into the main kind of topic of the episode. So I know you guys both had a couple articles you wanted to bring up. Harley, let's start with you if you want to start with one of your articles that you
Yeah,
that you found.
sure. I'll bring up the Xbox Series X allegedly catching fire and people posting videos of that, which
Yeah.
are obviously fake. And Microsoft even tweeted, "We can't believe we have to say this, but please do not blow vape smoke into your Xbox Series X."
So funny, man.
So people are, yeah, I don't. It's a weird one. They're blowing smoke into their Xbox and then making it seem like they're malfunctioning. I just
Yeah,
thought that was kind of like a little funny thing.
definitely pretty funny. It's one of these weird things where I don't know if people do it because they're like console wars or fanboying or
Uh,
whatever. Like it's a
I hope
PlayStation
not.
guy and he bought an Xbox to like blow smoke in it kind of thing. I don't think
That'd be
so.
my guess.
Maybe it's a bit of that. I think it's more just people wanting to make funny content, being like, "Oh shit, my
Yeah.
Xbox on fire" kind of thing.
Uh,
But
yeah.
I do kind of as funny as it is, it does suck because they're wasting a perfectly good
Oh,
Xbox that somebody else
yeah.
definitely wanted and couldn't get.
Yeah,
Um,
like me.
well, I mean,
The
they're sold out,
situation is
right? So
funny.
the situation
Yeah.
is definitely funny. The way Xbox
In
responded
a
to it was
weird
hilarious
way.
too.
Exactly, in that way.
Yeah,
They put
It
it
does
out.
suck for those who are looking for it that can't get it, and then there's people like them who, maybe they did get a PS5 and they bought an Xbox for fun, or maybe they have two Xboxes. Who knows? This is just their throwaway. Who knows?
I will say it's worth noting that I've been doing some digging around the internet and I haven't really seen any hardware issues yet on the Xbox Series X. From the first few
Okay.
days after launch. So aside from the vape smoke thing, everyone is
Mhm.
everything's running for the most part very very well. I did see one issue where somebody's disk drive on the Series X was kind of like making a lot of noise. I haven't actually put a disc in mine yet, so maybe I'll try that out. But that was the only thing I found. That seemed to be a pretty isolated issue.
Yeah,
That's
there'll be
pretty
a
good.
couple little things
Yeah, there always will
here
be,
and
right?
there.
That's kind of what you risk when
Yeah,
you buy one right away, and there might be a
not
couple kinks.
yeah,
So
not perfect.
yeah. Jim, what about you, man?
Not to harp to go off what this news article that Holly was talking about, or just in general the videos. Not that I'm harping on PlayStation, but do we know of any issues that the PS5 has had at its launch?
So from what I understand, it's not hardware-based issues; it's software. So, I've seen a few things where people who have PS5s they put their console in rest mode, and then when they turn it on again, it just errors and it doesn't turn on.
Mm.
Um,
Oh,
doesn't appear to be a hardware thing. It seems to be a software issue where there's something wrong with the system kind of software and it's not letting people get out of rest mode. That seems to be a I wouldn't call it widespread, but more than one person's having that issue. And then there's another issue. I think it has to do with, I forget what game it was, but somebody did something. It might have been Spider-Man where they did something and it bricked their PS5.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
Um,
Jeez.
Again, I don't know how widespread it is. I don't think it's very widespread at all, but it does sound like there's a couple things going on the PlayStation front, that I'm noticing, anyways, a little bit more than the Xbox front. But for the most part, it seems like both consoles are built pretty well. Like, there's no red ring. They're not overheating and dying. Like, it seems to be they were both built pretty well, and any kind of bugs or glitches that are happening uh, are temporary, and they'll be fixed in a software update or something.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
So one article that I wanted to bring up was the Switch sales numbers. So this is via Games Radar where I got this information from, but I've seen it on a few different websites as well. So the Switch has been out for 4 years now, about 4 years,
2017, I want to say.
3 4 years anyway. But
Yeah.
it is now celebrating its best October sales ever, with 735,000 units sold. So this is pretty significant in my head too, because for the last 23 months, the Switch has been the best-selling game console in the United States, which is pretty impressive. And the thing too that's important to note is that it's the second best October in gaming history, and the only thing that beat it was in 2008 when the Wii sold just over 800,000 units in October of 2008. So Doug Bowser, who's the president of Nintendo of America, I have a quote here where he says, "Seeing encouraging sales growth like this in the fourth October of Nintendo Switch proves to us that the system has many more years and great games yet to come." So I look at how long the Wii lasted, and I think the Switch has the potential to go at least another, and this is probably going to be a stupid number in my head, but I think a good 5 or 6 years before they have to really consider, like, how they shut down the DS production after how long it was on the market for and all that. Just, I think Nintendo, based on its franchises alone, maybe not even necessarily hardware, because it is the weakest of the three current gen consoles. And I say current gen as in seventh gen, I guess, because we're technically in the next gen now. But what do you guys think of that?
Um, yeah. So the Switch it's obviously done incredibly well. It's Nintendo's fastest selling, if you want to call it, console. It's kind of weird because it's also a handheld, but it's their fastest selling console since the Wii, and that makes it their second fastest selling console of all time. Um, it obviously keeps doing very, very well. This year was massive for them because of Animal Crossing and the
Mm-hmm.
lockdown, and that kind of caught fire. Like, Animal Crossing sold 20 million copies in less than a year. Like, that's bonkers. Like, that no game does that. So
No.
it, like, Nintendo's obviously doing very, very well. I anticipate that the Switch will be the best selling console this holiday, ahead of the Series X and PS5. Simply just due to stock and demand. Like, people won't be able to get their hands on a Series X and a PS5, but there will be many, many Switches out there. So, yeah, it's obviously doing great. I think that you're right, Jim. They probably won't take the Switch off the market for a long time. What I do think might happen is they're gonna do like a what's the best word for this? Like a mid, or I guess like a refresh is the right word for it, where they'll, how there's the DS, then there's the DSi, then there's the DS Lite, and I forget the order. Then there's the 3DS, then the new 3DS, and all that. I think
Yeah.
that Nintendo will pull one of those and make a Switch Pro, and that seems to be the rumor that's going around right now too. That Nintendo will release an updated kind of version of the Switch that supports 4K, and has a couple other quirks to it. But I mean, otherwise, it'll essentially be the same thing, and they'll continue to support the old one for a while too. So I think that's what they'll probably do, to help extend the life cycle of the Switch. But it is, yeah, man, it's sold really, really well. I love my Switch. I play it all the time. Harley, I know you have a different perspective on it. So what are your thoughts?
I would agree. I think they would need to make a pro version in some sense. I kind of think of it as like they want to compare it to the power of a PS5 or a Series X, they would need to make a pro version. But then I think about the kind of games that they are releasing. they're not necessarily as performance demanding.
Yep.
Like you said, Animal Crossing, like you don't need really like powerful machine to run that smoothly. So they probably could get away with just like this Switch for a bit. But personally, yeah, I don't really use the Switch that much. I only have 2 games for it, and I've been wanting to, turn it back on and play those games, but these new Xbox games keep coming out and just kind of entice me more.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I agree too, man. Like I have a Switch. Renee plays it a lot more than I do, and like I have games that I always want to get to. Like Breath of the Wild's a big one. Mario Odyssey is another big one. Those are the two like biggest ones in terms of games I've had since I've had it. And I think I bought it the year after it came out, and I haven't gotten around to it. And on a note of Nintendo working on a potential Pro version, I was going to bring that up too, but I mean how long, and not that we know exactly, but like how long after the DS came out did we get the DSi? Because Switch already released the Switch Lite. What was it called? Though,
Yeah, yeah.
like the
Switch
just
Lite.
handheld version.
Yep.
So that's only, was that last year it came out? So they've already released a variant of it that just appeals to just the handheld. So maybe the Pro version of the Switch will just be like TV based and won't be able to go handheld, because as soon as you go handheld with the Switch as it is already, you already lose resolution, right?
Yep. And I think that's a way they could save money. That's a good point, right? They could make a Switch, even though the name wouldn't make sense anymore because you couldn't switch it to anything. But they could make a Switch where you plug it into the TV and there's no screen, right? It's just a box. It's just the dock with the internals in it, and you could save a lot of money by not putting a screen on that thing, right? Because the screen's probably the most expensive part of the Switch, I would say. So yeah, you could save a ton of money. You could beef up the internals. It only plugs in. I think that is something Nintendo could definitely do. I personally think they won't do that because then it defeats the purpose of the Switch. That's basically just a new system at that point. You know what I mean?
Do you have any articles, Tony, you want to bring up or no?
Yeah, yeah. So, there's a couple of them. I think one that isn't really an article, but I'd like to talk to you guys about a bit is the Mass Effect Legendary Edition that was finally announced
Ooh.
on N7 Day. It was the day after our first podcast recording actually, but
Oh, interesting.
yeah, I mean, obviously, I think we've all played through Mass Effect, right?
I played through the
Except
first
for
one.
Andromeda.
Except for Andromeda, sure. And yeah, and Jim, you've only played through the first, you said, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
many times, but never the other two.
yeah,
I
yeah,
started to, but then I kind of fell off.
yeah.
Not because it was bad, just other stuff comes out. Kind of like Harley with wanting to play the Switch. Other things come out that divert my attention. It's unfortunate, but it happens all the time.
Yeah, and I think that
Yeah.
this collection's a good opportunity to jump back in, right? Like it's the perfect. Oh, sweet! I can finally play through these games for you, man. And then for Harley and I, like I don't know, it's exciting for me because I haven't played those Mass Effect games in so long, and we don't know too much about the Legendary Collection. So I'm kind of wondering if they're gonna go the remastered kind of port, where it's like
Mm.
they just kind of upscale it and it's kind of the same game, but they make it so it's upscaled to 4K on a TV, but it's the same thing. Or if they go full out, remake on it, where it's, maybe it's kind of like the Gears Ultimate Edition remake, where it's exactly the same game, but it was rebuilt from the ground up, so it's not just upgraded textures, it's brand new textures kind of thing. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I'm wondering which route they're gonna go down, and I want to know if you guys are planning on getting it or not, and if whatever route they go down will influence your decision on that.
How
Uh,
much? How much do you think it's gonna be?
Oh, I bet it's full price, man.
And if so, like for us, $80,
Yeah,
80 plus tax.
yeah, they're
yeah.
gonna milk that for sure. They know people will buy it.
Yeah. If it's like built up from the beginning, probably get it. If it's all 3 games, or excluding Andromeda, I would guess.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah,
All 3 games, I'd probably get that. I mean, I really love those games. so much replayability, and like you can sink a lot of time into even just one of them. So I think that'd be worth the money.
What do you think, Jim?
I feel like I'd have to see gameplay first because I already own the trilogy on disc anyway for the 360.
Right.
Nice, beautiful
Is
packaging.
that backwards compatible? I forget.
Yes, it is.
There you go. So for you, that's even more interesting because you already have it. You can already play it. So
Yeah, but they're not. I mean, it's just the original games that you can play on. I think kind of like you were saying, if it was like Gears of War Ultimate, where it's the exact same game, but all the assets are kind of built from the ground up again. And I mean, think about it: $80 for 3 games that you could sink, triple digit numbers into combined. That's still a lot of value. Even though the
It's a
games
lot
are
of
older,
value.
that's still a lot of value in 3 huge. Even the first Mass Effect, it's not as big as the other two, but it's still a really big game. And I mean, I've played through it, I bet you 3 times now, and each time I've sunken, I bet you 40, 50 hours into each playthrough, just because there's so much to explore and like so many little things to do. There's more to do in the other ones, I'm sure, and I'll get to them eventually. But um, right now, I think I would buy it though. It'd be nice to see gameplay and it'd be nice to see details because I look at like the Insane trilogy for Crash Bandicoot and I also look at the Spyro Reignited. Were those okay? They're different games, kind of games, granted, but were they full price when they first came out or were they reduced?
no, those were actually reduced. I think they were like I could be no. I think they were reduced. They were like instead of being $80, they were like 60 or something like that. So
Again, those are 3D platformers compared to like a huge sprawling sci-fi RPG or action RPG type of
Yeah.
game. So even at $80, 90 in the end with us, with all taxes and everything, I still think it'd be worth a pickup. But if the gameplay shows that it's just up-resed and they haven't changed any of the assets and it still looks relatively the same, I might reconsider. But I think knowing me and knowing my history of buying packaged stuff like that, I will probably pick it up.
that's fair. You do that a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's okay though. I mean, it's like you said, there's a ton of value packed in there. I do think it's interesting that you already have it, like you already have that collection. It's just like the backwards compatible collection, I guess, right? Because it's the 360 discs. So it does make it more interesting for you, I think, in that if it's the same thing, but it's just up-res to 4K, then there isn't really any benefits. But I guess we just got to see. We just got to wait and see what it actually is like.
Yeah.
For me personally, like those Mass Effect games are like when I think about franchises that really were like really big for me, especially in the 360 generation, like Mass Effect's right up there, man. Like it's one of the best ones out there. So like that trilogy it's probably one of the best trilogies in video games. Like
Oh hell yeah!
if you think about it, like it's all 3 of them, even with the third one in the ending, all 3 of them quality, super good, super good. And it's crazy that those games all came out like within 2 or 3 years of each other. Like we didn't have to wait long in between installments. Like they kind of came out pretty quick, and they're all so big. So I think it's really cool. I guess we'll just have to wait and see some gameplay and some more details on it to make decisions, boys. But I was pretty excited about that news. That's what I had.
Yeah.
It was like a weight being lifted off my chest because like it's been rumored for so long, and
Oh,
just to
forever,
actually
man.
have the news of it,
Yeah,
it's just nice to hear.
forever. It's been rumored forever. So I'm glad that we finally know that it exists, and now we can just wait and see. Did you guys have any other articles you wanted to mention?
I had one more.
Yeah.
I have one
Kind of,
more.
yeah,
You can go first,
kind of an
Riley.
article. It was kind of more along the lines of Cold War and Sony exclusives within it.
Oh yeah.
Yep. It happened in Modern Warfare. Except in Modern Warfare, it was one mode. Spec Ops, a year long, and it's happening again in Cold War. Except, they've tacked on 3, 4 more things that PlayStation users get that no one else does. So, what they get is when you buy the battle pass, there's an option where you can get a bundle, and it gives some tier skips. So if you have a PlayStation, you get an extra 5 tier skips. It's kind of nice. Um, Another thing, they have a PlayStation Party bonus, where PlayStation players who play together in parties received 25% more bonus weapon XP, so they can level their guns faster. They're also going to have monthly exclusive double XP events that last for 24 hours. And they also get 2 extra loadout slots in the beginning of the game. And they also get an exclusive zombies mode called Onslaught, where you basically fight zombies in multiplayer maps following an orb of power that kind of resembles like a BR zone, where if you're in the circle, you're fine. If you're out, you take damage, and you just have to survive waves. And all of that will be exclusive on PlayStation until November 1st, 2021.
Until it doesn't matter anymore because the next COD game's out.
Exactly.
Oh,
The next
man.
COD will be out, and it will be irrelevant.
You know, I didn't really get too upset about the Modern Warfare one because it was that survival mode,
No,
and we played it, and
it's
when it
just a
finally
mode.
came out, and we were like, this was whatever.
Yeah.
We don't care
Yeah.
because
nothing.
it didn't impact gameplay. But this Black Ops Cold War one is absolutely impacting gameplay, where PlayStation gamers are getting more experience, they're leveling faster, they're leveling their guns faster, they're getting. I actually don't mind the monthly exclusive double XP events for 24 hours. That's pretty minor in my opinion, but just the fact that like they get all of that kind of stacked together.
They're just getting alone. I agree. It's not. It sucks, but it's not like end of the world.
Yeah.
But it's just like piling on thing after thing after thing after thing.
Like you add all that together, like it's like why
a
wouldn't I play on
lot.
PlayStation? Like if you're a PC
Yeah.
gamer or an Xbox gamer, you're like, well, shit. Like, do they just not want me to play Call of Duty? Like, like it's
Yeah.
that's a little. It's almost a bridge too far for me.
It's-
It sucks. I get it because there's a lot of money in that
yeah.
marketing deal, but I mean,
yeah.
you got to think that there's a lot of Call of Duty players on PlayStation, but there's got to be, I would say, combined just as many or more on Xbox and PC combined if you combine them together.
Yeah.
Right?
I think there's probably more on PC.
Yeah.
I think of all the streamers.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, most streamers play on PC. Not a lot of them are playing on consoles.
I would be interested to know the numbers there, but I think maybe just PC, but I think definitely when you add PC and Xbox
And
together,
Xbox.
that market share has to be more than PlayStation, or at least maybe about the same. So even if you say it's about the same,
Yeah.
like they're alienating half of their fan base by doing that.
I was watching a YouTube video because I wanted to see the game mode in play
the Onslaught one.
and Onslaught.
Yeah.
And I was watching a pretty popular YouTuber, and he was kind of explaining how last year's was kind of whatever. He was kind of like, is this something for us to be like, that sucks, like we're missing out? And he was like, yeah, he says it's pretty fun. So it's kind of like, just kind of like another jab.
Yeah.
It's like the Spec Ops one, we played it when we finally were able to, and like you said, it wasn't that much. It was like, okay, whatever. If this one is fun, like, and now with Cold War, like anything you do in Cold War, like levels, the experience goes like everywhere. It's like universal. Play zombies and you can level up your main overall level. You can level up all your guns. There's a lot more you can do than in Spec Ops. You just kind of just played around.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay. We'll see who gets Elder Scrolls 6. We'll see who gets it.
That's another. I would actually love to talk about that as a main topic in another episode. The whole Bethesda deal and what we think is going to happen there. But
Hell yeah, man.
yeah, that's a big topic. We'll save that for another one. Let's keep that on the whiteboard before we put it in the PowerPoint, boys. But, that's a good one. Yeah, it's just another thing with the Sony exclusives, man. And Xbox has them too. Like, let's not forget that the Shadow of the Tomb, or not Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I think it was just it was Shadow of the Tomb Raider. That was exclusive to Xbox for a year.
Okay.
So they've pulled stunts like this before. But Sony is certainly doing them a lot more now than compared to Xbox.
They're hitting big name games.
Exactly. Like Final
ones
Fantasy
that are
7,
pulling in millions of people.
Like the Final Fantasy 7 one's crazy to me. Like that's exclusivity for an unknown amount of time. Like it is eventually going to come to Xbox. They've said that. They just the Sony deal is so mysterious. Like is it when the whole game comes out, because it's only like half of the game right now? Do we get it? Is it after 5 years? Like we have no idea. So and the Spider-Man thing and the Avengers game, like that's another one. So
yeah, it's a bit of a shame.
It kind of rolls into my next. I'll quickly have. Jim, do you have another article? I have one more I want to talk about. If you have one more, then
yeah, I got one. You can go first.
Okay, so this one kind of rolls nicely into what we were just talking about with the Avengers game. But so a bunch of articles came out this week that Avengers have lost something like 96% of their player base since launch, and the game cost something like $120-130 million to make or something like that, and they've made about 50. So they're like deep in the hole, and their player base is left. And we kind of talked about this when we played the beta, guys. Like when it was back in August or something like that, I forget. But we were talking about it. We're like, yeah, this is fun, but I wouldn't pay money for it.
No,
that's kind of what I felt. And like, if it comes to Game Pass, I'll play it, and that's the beauty of Game Pass.
Yeah, I'll give it a try.
And I think that because of the financial situation, there's actually a good chance it'll end up on Game Pass because they'll just want more people playing. But yeah, man, like I was not surprised at all when I saw those numbers. I'm like, yeah, I could. That's one of those gut feeling ones when you play games for as long as we have and stuff like that, you can kind of smell a dud, like you're like, I don't know if this is gonna be any good. Even though everyone was all hyped about it, and there you go. I think
there was a lot
example.
of hype around it.
A ton of hype around it, man. But I mean, when we played it, we're like, yeah, it's just fine. It's just fine. It's nothing special.
It's not worth $80.
No, God, no. I think at best it's maybe. And okay, I'm no expert, but I think at the most I might pay. I feel like I'm an asshole for saying this, but I'm lowballing. I think I would pay like $20 for it, maybe 30 at the very, very most. But I'd have to be really into Marvel at the time, or I'd have to be really into the idea of playing a game like that again. Because the last time I played a game that kind of had a similar gameplay style to that was Fantastic Four on the PS2. And I think a game that plays like that would have to evolve somewhat to survive in 2020, especially with games like Spider-Man and I guess now Spider-Man Miles Morales that are like so good at doing what they do. And to have the Avengers come out and it's just like all right, it's not really like a good play on their part.
Yeah, it's I think they were kind of hoping that the hype of Avengers would help them cash in a bit, and I think to an extent it did, but overall it didn't hide the fact that the game was kind of shallow, and ultimately it was a mash buttons to win game, and one thing that always bugged me about it was that, like, sure, you can level up your characters, right, and you can kind of personalize them, so my Hulk might be different from your Hulk, but in the end, when I was playing it, even in the beta, that never felt like it was my Hulk still. I always felt like I'm just playing as the Hulk. This isn't my character. I don't care that I need to put gear on him because I don't feel like that's my character. I don't know if I'm explaining that right.
Unless you want to pay money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you want to like stand out.
Yeah, like I think this game could have been way cooler if you could create your own Avenger, like a character customization, and Then your gear actually, you make your own Avenger, and you have missions where you can team up with the Hulk. You can you can pick your cast of like supporting characters almost. So
Oh,
this mission,
interesting.
I'm gonna have
They,
Iron Man
they
come
could have
with
done
me.
that.
I'm gonna have Thor come with me, and I have my own powers that I can customize. I think that would have probably taken off a lot more, and that also would have added something to like, kind of like gearing and like the whole like customization element of it, because that's what the game was kind of marketed towards, was hey, get to the max level and get the best gear. But when you're the Hulk and when you're Iron Man, like you're already a superhero. You're already like this like god that's been portrayed on TV. Like, I don't know. To me, it kind of feels weird that I need to level up Hulk. Like, isn't he already the strongest thing? You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
that's where I think like if you were your own Avenger, that game could have been way cooler. That's just my thought though.
The thing was, is like the gear you equipped didn't change how you looked. That was, behind paywalls and such.
Yeah,
It's
man.
like, oh, you want to have a different skin. Here's, pay $10.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Do you think it would have worked better as an open world game? Or do you think that the linear mission structure, not linear, but like the more mission based structure would works more in its favor?
Um,
Mm.
I think it would have been cool if it was like a raid kind of feature, where you again maybe you have your own custom Avenger, and then you have your kind of supporting cast, or you can team up with friends with their own custom Avengers, and you go through like a almost like a raid like World of Warcraft, where like there's all the kind of like mobs that are around, and then there's like dungeon bosses and like raid bosses that are really tough to beat, like really tough to beat, and you get cool gear from it. Like, I think that it kind of just sounds more like an MMO when you think of it that way, but
Yeah.
Kind of like DC Universe
Kind of
Online.
acts like an MMO.
it does kind of. I mean, that's the thing. I don't think Avengers
In a
knows what it
sense.
is. You know,
Kind of a mishmash.
it's a mishmash
Yeah.
of things. It's like, oh, it's a hack and slash. Oh, it's an RPG. Oh, it's a superhero game. Like, I don't know. So I thought that was an interesting piece of news that came out. It certainly didn't surprise me, but it's interesting
Yeah.
to see that what we all kind of felt from our gut ended up being true.
Hmm.
So we'll see if it comes to Game Pass, because I think there's a good chance it's going to come to Game Pass now.
Oh.
In which case, I'll actually give
Yeah.
it a second chance, because
Yeah.
I mean that's
Yeah.
that's the beauty of Game Pass, man. You can try it, and if you don't like it, no skin off my back. I didn't pay money
Yeah.
for it.
No harm, no foul.
Exactly. And if I like
Exactly.
it, beauty, then maybe I'll end up putting microtransactions in it if it's good. Like,
Yeah.
so that's the beauty of Game Pass.
Yeah.
All right, man. Jim, you got one more? You said.
Yes, I do. So it actually is kind of topical because there's gameplay of this game in the episode right now. But Ubisoft Canada came under fire a little bit because they had to remove an in-game voice due to some real-life views of the individual. So
Oh,
Oh.
this is via Kotaku. I got the information
I heard
from.
of this. Yes.
But I have seen this again on multiple sites. So there's a journalist whose name is Helen Lewis, and I guess she's famous for being a little transphobic. And specifically in 2017, she said in the Times. So her one famous quote is, "A man just can't say he's turned into a woman. What the government proposes is a radical rewriting of our understanding of identity. Now it's a question of an internal essence, a soul, if you will. Being a man or a woman is now entirely in your head," which is not, the most pleasant viewpoint to have, especially nowadays. It's also wrong to think that way too, because everybody's their own individual. But regardless, within Watchdog Legion, there are like podcasts that you can listen to, like radio stations. So Helen is specifically involved in 2 podcast episodes, but Ubisoft has decided to remove them due to being under fire for, maybe not necessarily doing a proper background check on the person. So the weird thing too is the podcasts in the game are well received, but it's just the in-game voice that kind of came under fire for it, and Ubisoft specifically too. So their full statement on the matter reads: "We are made aware, or we were made aware of controversial remarks from a journalist whose voiceover performance appears in 2 in-game podcasts in Watchdog Legion. Neither Ubisoft nor the game reflect this journalist's viewpoints. The development team worked with an external producer to select speaker profiles for these podcasts and were not aware of the controversy at the time of booking or recording. While the in-game podcasters are following a pre-approved script and are not speaking in their own name or with their own opinions, we understand this collaboration itself may be seen as offensive, and we deeply regret any hurt that this has caused. In response, we'll be replacing these 2 podcast episodes in an upcoming update, and will reinforce our background checks for partners in the future. Now, this kind of brought me back to when Ukulele was coming out, and JonTron, who's a famous YouTuber and famous for being a really big fan of Banjo-Kazooie and Rareware in general, because Playtonic, who made Ukulele, were a lot of ex-Rare employees that made the, those classic 3D platforms that we all grew up, or most of us grew up loving anyway. And I guess JonTron in a live stream had said some controversial things, so he got removed from Ukulele because of that.
Oh no.
Yeah, JonTron's been in the news a few times about a couple controversial things.
Yeah, and Ubisoft was under fire a little bit ago too when the Me Too movement was starting to gain momentum. Do you guys remember that?
Didn't that have to do with their staff culture?
Yeah, it had to do with like working conditions and like employee treatment and whatnot, and sexism and blah blah blah. So I'm not gonna go too far into it because that could almost be a topic on its own of other companies that have been under fire in the gaming industry for that. But do you guys, kind of posing a question here, do you guys think that real life views, kind of like Ubisoft was saying, they had pre-approved scripts and they can't speak out of their own voice, but do you guys still think it's wrong for people with real life controversial opinions to be included in a game like this?
I think that
like does the art overshadow the artist,
or
the artist overshadow the art?
For me, it's like this: if you're working on a team on any team, whether that's work or it's school, and you know somebody has an opinion like that, you shouldn't work with them.
I think
period.
They might too.
So I think for me, that's it. Doesn't matter about it doesn't matter that she wasn't speaking out of her own voice or whatever or whatever that was, and that they had pre-approved scripts. The fact is that I don't know much about her, but she doesn't sound like a very good person, and you shouldn't work with people that aren't good people. Like simple as that. Because she collected a paycheck for that, guys. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
She took money from
in a
somebody.
way, they're kind of like,
yeah, like exactly.
It's kind of like supporting.
You supported her whether you kind of thought you did or you didn't. So, you took a paycheck away from somebody who, could have done probably a better job anyways, and also, has good opinions and is a good person. So, I'm a big fan of not giving opportunities to people who don't deserve it. And that's not to say that, again, I don't know much about her, but if those are her opinions and she sounds like a bad person, then she doesn't deserve opportunities to voice things or to work in games, period, because there's so many people who are just great people and want to work in games, and it's so hard, and she got a gig instead of them. So that's the way I feel about it. Don't take away opportunities from people, and I'd be interested to know if Ubisoft had any idea of that or not. It sounds like from their statement they said they will do more thorough background checks, but that seems like a pretty big miss. So I wonder if somebody knew and they just swept it under the rug, or maybe they were just truly oblivious and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, she's done some work in podcasting before or whatever, so let's get her. So
yeah, I didn't was wrong, but yeah,
was her statement like? Was it well known? Was it like? I kind of think like maybe it wasn't that well known at the time. Maybe when they were doing the bookings.
Yeah,
I think overall, overall they did the right choice. Remove that. Some good stuff in there.
Yeah, everybody love everybody. Everybody, let's just give like you said, Tony. Let's give opportunities to the people that really deserve it.
And there's so many people out there who are working their ass off and trying to break in, and that goes for making games or voice acting in games or writing music for
Oh
games
yeah,
or
it's hard
or
getting in
doing
there.
podcasting like we're doing, like trying to make it big time. Like, there's so many people trying to break in. So, um, you're right. They did the right thing in the end by taking her out, but the fact is she got paid. So, get it together, Ubisoft, because they've, like you said before, Jim, they've done some stuff in the past and they've been kind of sketch in the past. So let's clean up your act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's enough on that.
Yeah.
I don't want to dwell too hard on that because it can be a little heavy or heavy-handed of a subject. But
Touchy.
let's move on to more
touchy subject.
positivity. We are very positive. So
Yes, and it's a good thing that they got rid of her. So again,
Yeah.
you did the right thing. Good job. Let's not make that mistake again.
beautiful.
Yeah. Any other events or articles you guys wanted to bring up before we dive into the kind of the main topic here?
That's all I had.
That's all I had too.
Cool. Well, we've been here for about 45 minutes talking about news, so that's great.
Yeah.
So the main topic, if you can't tell from the title of the show, I got my Series X. I ended up getting it a day after launch. I was kind of mad about that because I pre-ordered it in like the first few minutes, so I was really hoping I was going to get it the first day. I don't blame Microsoft entirely on that. I actually blame the shipping. But it came here the day after. It was supposed to arrive at 5 p.m. on the day after, and the guy rang my doorbell at like 4:59. We were all talking on Xbox.
Yeah, we were all.
He was the last. Like, I was the last delivery for sure. But
Does Sony own FedEx? I wonder.
they might. I guess everyone in Canada would have got the same shipping company. So yeah, it was FedEx. I think it was probably late because it was coming from Memphis for some reason, but I digress. Either way, I got it. And so I've been playing that. And the PS5 obviously came out on Thursday. So there's, both new consoles are out. We're officially next gen or current gen, and past gen is PS4 and Xbox One, which is kind of weird to think. But I guess I'll give kind of my initial impressions about the console, and then if you guys want to chime in or ask me anything or like that, just let me know. But I'll say from the start, just kind of opening up the console, and for anyone watching, there's a lot of really great unboxing videos for the Series X. But from the moment you unbox it, it just feels very premium the way they present it to you. It feels like I just spent $700 Canadian, because that's essentially what I just did. You open up the box and it's wrapped in this nice black wrapping paper. It has a little Power Your Dreams banner across it. It's nicely kind of like held up on a platter almost for you. And the way they kind of package it, it's also very safe. It's very snug in there. It's not moving around. So I felt like this thing would have had a hard time breaking during shipping, which is nice. And then the overall packaging was just very, very, very nice. Taking it out of that packaging and kind of just placing it on my TV unit, it's it looks really nice, man. I have it standing vertically, and
Yes.
it just looks great. Like, the more I look at it, the more I know there's all those fridge memes out there, and there's obviously the actual fridge they made, but man, this thing it blends right in, man. Like, and I think that is it's certainly a one way you can go about making a console. This thing blends in. Like, I sometimes I don't even notice it's there, and that's pretty cool. But when you notice it and you look at it, it also just looks really cool. It looks powerful. It feels very premium. It's heavy. It's like 10 pounds. So it definitely feels that.
Wow.
It's packed in there. But it's yeah, man. Like, it all, everything from unboxing it to the appearance of it to turning it on to just the whole operation of it just feels extremely premium. That's the kind of the best word I could land on for the console. Is just premium, man. It feels like I spent a lot of money on it, which I did. In terms of the setup process, that was the easiest thing I've ever done in my life. So I plugged it in, and it prompted me to open up the Xbox app on my phone when I plugged it in. So I did that, and it kind of connects to it from my phone, and then from my phone I can actually sign into my profile. I can move over my settings from my previous Xbox One, because that's all saved to the cloud. I kind of install all my updates from my phone, and within a few minutes I was into my Series X, and everything was set up exactly the way it was on my Xbox One X. which was
What? Really?
just so cool.
Nice.
Like it took a
That's
few
awesome.
minutes and it was all there, and it was like, wow, that was the easiest thing ever. Like it was so cool. On top of that, I had all of my games on an external hard drive on my Xbox One X, and all I had to do was unplug it and then plug it into my new one and like my new console,
Hey.
and it everything disappeared, and that was it. Like it was
Huh.
all my games were there. Like it was I didn't have to re-download anything. Like it was just everything was there. So
That's
in a
awesome.
matter of like 10 minutes, I was ready to go, which was so cool. The one thing I will say is I did take the time to move I think it was yeah, I think I have 9 games on there right now. 9 games from the hard drive to the SSD on the internal SSD. Just because you get the benefits of having it on the SSD, the fast load times, quick resume, all the next gen features. So I moved like MCC, Halo 5, Gears 5, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order because I still want to beat that. No Man's Sky. I moved Fortnite over because that's actually next gen optimized. Call of Duty Warzone and just Modern Warfare, I guess. Am I forgetting anything? I don't think I'm forgetting anything there.
Wait a minute. So you don't get the next gen features if it's off of an external hard drive. It has to be on the SSD.
That's right. Yep.
Okay.
So the way they kind of describe it is you could store games on the external hard drive, but if you want to play the next gen versions of those games, it needs to be on the SSD. Now you can play the old gen version, so like I could just keep Halo 5 on my hard drive if I want to, and I could play it, no problem. Same with MCC, same with Gears 5. I could play it off of the hard drive. Um, but if I want those next gen benefits, I need to move it over to the SSD. So moving it over was super quick. So like I almost filled the internal hard drive. I think I have about 200 gigs left on it, and within an hour I had like 600 gigs moved. So I just kind of just like queued up everything I wanted to move and kind of set it up, and I walked away and I worked out, and I came back from my workout and all my games were moved over. So that was pretty quick. I was happy with that. And a nice little benefit from as well, just speaking of speed, is I wasn't expecting my download speeds to improve, but they improved, man. Like on my Xbox One X, I was getting like uh, on a good day like 40 megabytes a second where I'm set up right now, and on the Series X, I get 90. Like, and it's in the exact same spot. It's on Wi-Fi. Like, I can't explain it. It just downloads things faster, which is
Um,
really cool.
I would think it might have to do something with a network adapter or perhaps a network card inside the system itself.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Probably better optimizes your Wi-Fi.
Yeah, something like
That's my
that.
best guess for that.
Pretty cool though, because they didn't really talk about
Just
that in the marketing.
yeah,
You know, it
it's
was just
pretty awesome.
pretty cool. Like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna download Gears Tactics because that's one of the games I wanted to play, and I started downloading it. And I'm like, wait, it's going 90, and then I checked my network settings and it was 90, and then I checked the next day and it was still 90. I'm like, it wasn't just like a random spike. Like it's just faster, which is like,
That's a number I've never seen online.
yeah, man,
I've never seen over 60.
yeah, man, like it's
I
crazy.
I go around like 20. Oh, that's
Yeah, on a
so
really good
stupid.
day, I'm like 45.
And I think that's a lot of people out there. Like unless you live in a, I'll say unless you live in a big city, where you probably have like gigabit Ethernet or gigabit Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
like 5G and that kind of stuff. But like where we are, not to say we live out in the woods, but like we're not in like the biggest city in Canada, but
Oh,
we're a big enough city, one of the bigger centers,
yeah.
and like internet speeds are fast, but they're not stupid fast. But I mean the
Yeah,
fact that it increases the speed is like that's such a nice little benefit, man. Like I was very very happy with that, especially when Call of Duty has like a 35 gig update out of
Oh,
nowhere.
Yeah,
you
no
know,
yeah.
gosh.
We were
jeez.
just talking about that. We were deleting some of after playing Cold War. We deleted some of our stuff to slim it down a bit.
Yeah,
Just Warzone is like 90 gigs.
yeah.
Ugh,
Warzone is it's stupid big.
so big.
Yeah,
It was 177 before with
Oh
everything
my
for me.
god, dude.
Campaign, multiplayer, Spec Ops.
yeah.
Oof.
There's a lot, and it's games are probably only going to get bigger too. So there's you got
Sure, yeah.
you got to think of that. And Call of Duty's
Those
I think just
4K?
poorly optimized in my opinion, but because
Probably.
how is Call of Duty bigger than Cyberpunk? But whatever. Um, yeah, but that's kind of the Series X in a nutshell.
Oh, Cyberpunk.
Yeah, Cyberpunk's
You could have been playing that.
could have been playing
Yeah.
Cyberpunk, could have been playing Halo Infinite. Um, oh
You
yeah,
could be playing Call of Duty with us, but maybe one day.
maybe one day, maybe one day. I wanted to mention Quick Resume as well, which I'm not sure if you guys have seen Quick Resume in action.
Quick resume?
Yeah,
Not since you sent me the video of like way back in the summer of that one guy who kind of had a hands-on with the other system apart and all that. That's the only time I've ever seen it demonstrated.
right. So it's a really like this is probably one of the coolest features of next gen, and this is something that Sony actually doesn't have, even though Sony has a faster SSD, which I think is interesting. But so basically the SSD, if you're playing games off of your SSD, I should say, it can keep like 4 to 5 games in kind of like a frozen state. So I could, like, for example, I played
Oh.
Gears Tactics like 3 or 4 days ago, and then I played a bunch of games in between. I played Halo 5 with you guys, I played Call of Duty, I played Fortnite, I played Gears, and then I started up Gears Tactics today, and it quick resumed, and I loaded it in like 3 seconds, and I was exactly where I left off.
Oh. So it's like tabbing out of a
Exactly, it's like
game
tabbing.
on a PC.
It's like tabbing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, really, really
So
cool.
jealous.
It's
Oh.
like it's one of those things where like you see like a marketing video of it and you're like, oh, okay, but then when you actually like use it, you're like, oh wow, okay, this is really cool. Like I can jump in between 5 or 6 games and it takes like 2 seconds. It's like a really nice benefit, especially for someone like me, and I think for someone like us too, where like we just hop between games a lot. You know, we'll play 2 hours of this
Oh,
and two
yeah.
hours of that, 2 hours of that. You know, like and for
Go
me,
for the triple threat.
go for the triple threat exactly, and it loads up. Now, what I will say is that for games that are like live service, so Fortnite's a good example. Destiny 2 is a good example as well, where you need to be logged into a server. Quick resume doesn't work because you need to stay logged in, right? So
Mhm.
it doesn't work for those games, but it does work for practically everything else.
A
So
single player game.
single player games, like I said, it worked for Halo, worked for Gears. Like it's pretty cool, man. So
Yeah.
quick resume
It'd
is
be good. You're
is great.
playing alone. Playing alone. Guys come on. You can quick switch games. Then the end of the night, you can switch back.
Yeah, and like for a game, think about a
Pretty
game like
nice.
Red Dead, which takes like 2 minutes to load,
Oh.
Oh my god.
Oh
dude.
no.
right? Not only is the loading faster, anyways, because it's on the SSD, but having that game in quick resume,
Yeah.
oh my god, the amount of time you save, man. So I'm pretty excited for quick resume. I think it's kind of I think it's a silent game changer in a way where
Like a hidden gem.
yeah, like I don't think I could go back to playing on my One X at this point. Just like it's so nice. Like it's crazy.
I want one now so bad.
Well, well, I'm gonna get to that in a second. But I'm gonna say the Series X optimized games, so the ones that developers specifically spent time to like optimizing for the new system. The ones I've tried so far, just like look and play, like they're amazing. Like Fortnite, everything looks like Fortnite's a funny one because it's not like Fortnite's a good looking game. It has a nice art style, so it always
It's
looks
arts, yeah.
it's artsy, right? But it's not like it's cartoony, but it's not like pixel pushing. But
Hmm.
the game just looks
Yeah.
so much clearer on the Series X, and like I said to you guys, I think last night, it kind of just feels like going from like a low to like an ultra setting on a PC. Like it's just like, oh wow, it's just like this game just looks way better. Gears 5 I played a couple minutes of. I want to get back into it. It's on quick resume, so I can just jump back in. But I started up the first campaign mission, and you know on Gears 5 in the first mission, you kind of like rappel out of the helicopter into the hole where there's the waterfall and everything, and like the
Oh,
trees all around
yeah.
it. That looks mind-blowing.
Oh,
Oh my god, it looks absolutely mind-blowing. That's probably the best looking game I've seen, period. Um, on any system, PC, like
Ooh.
PS5, like anything. Gears 5 looks nuts. It looks really good. And Gears Tactics is amazing too. From a graphical and performance perspective. Like I was running it on a low Some things were medium on my PC, and it was like 20 to 30 frames a second. Wasn't a great experience. I don't have a great PC to start, but on the Series X, it's a dream. It feels like the way it should. So I'm very happy with that. But that kind of brings me to my next point, which is overall, I do think it's perfectly okay for most people to wait on the Series X. It feels really good to have, don't get me wrong, and I love it. It's a fantastic console. It's really, really powerful. Everything's incredibly fast. And it just feels like a powerful gaming machine, you know, like it just feels really good. But there's nothing that I can do from like a pure gaming perspective that you guys can't do yet. Sure, I have quick resume. Sure, I have the SSD, but we're playing the same games, and we're ultimately, for the most part, having the same experiences. So I would say for most people, if you want to get one, of course, I'm not gonna say don't spend your money, but also I think it's perfectly okay to save your money at this point. I don't think the console's gonna drop in price anytime soon, especially with the pandemic. I don't think that's gonna happen. But what I could see happening is that games start getting bundled in. So maybe, you know, in March you'll get a cool Cyberpunk bundle where it comes with Cyberpunk. You know, when Halo Infinite comes out, maybe there'll be a Halo Infinite bundle. You know, maybe there'll be a Far Cry 6 bundle. Who knows? But I think that that'll be a good opportunity for people to jump in when that starts happening. But right now, like, if you get one, great, you're gonna love it. I don't think anyone's gonna dislike having it. I think it's an amazing console. But there's no real you need to have this kind of moment on it.
Yeah.
You know, everything I talked about sounds really good, and you guys are like, oh, I want one now and stuff like that. But like, ultimately, there's nothing really separating what I do from what you guys do at this point. We're playing the same games. I'm just kind of experiencing them at a, like I said, like a PC kind of ultra setting, and you guys are experiencing that at like a medium, sometimes a low kind of setting. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's kind of the same thing, and it's not like games play bad on the Xbox One at all. They play fine. So, yeah, that's kind of my first impressions on the Series X. I think it's great. But for you guys, I want to ask you guys, what would make you guys buy a Series X? And this is for the audience too, for you guys to answer in the comments. And this is kind of the question of the week. What would make you guys say, okay, I need to buy a Series X?
When they're back in stock. It's true. I regret now, not back then, but I regret now not pre-ordering it. Like, yeah, I don't have a 4K TV, but that stuff can always come like afterwards. But it's just, it'd be nice.
There's
to
no
experience...
shortage of 4K TVs.
No, exactly too. Like, it's not like it'd be hard to get one, but I kind of regret waiting to get it. But to answer your question truthfully, I think the thing that would make me get it, I mean, it's ultimately the reason why I wanted to get it in the first place, and that'd be Halo. That was sort of my big hope and dream, was for that to come out and then be able to play it on a next-gen console. Now that we have to wait, again, like you said, there's no rush to get it, but just the fact that you have all these new features that are, you know, almost like never before done. Like, even the competitor doesn't have the quick resume, and you're saying that games, you know, since now they're being optimized for the 8th generation, and you're getting all these free updates for visuals and performance for all these games that almost make them play like the way they should have always been played. Like, I play on the original Xbox One, so
Same here.
you know, Call of Duty, like Harley and I were playing earlier today, we went from Black Ops Cold War to Modern Warfare, and I bet you from the time we started up Modern Warfare to try and get it to connect to Xbox Live and this and that, and just to get the game to load, I bet you it was like 5-ish minutes to just even get into the lobby, which is kind of stupid. And now I don't know if that's a Call of Duty thing, if it's their servers, or if it's a console thing. But
it might be a mixture of all of that, actually.
Yeah, so just to have the hardware to even make it possible for it to be better, I'm all for upgrading, and I'm all for, you know, jumping into the new generation, because I did wait to get my Xbox One. When did it come out? Do you know, Tony, offhand? Was it 2013 or 2014?
2013 was launch year.
So I didn't get mine until the summer after in 2014.
Yeah, I waited until the the fall after, so I got the Sunset Overdrive bundle, and it was like 2 weeks before MCC came out. So I waited for the Xbox One as well. And Harley, you waited even longer than
Same
that,
here.
right?
I think maybe a year
Yeah.
after. I can't really remember. I waited probably the longest.
It is worth noting that it came bundled with Kinect to start, and that made it $100 more. So.
And mine didn't have a Kinect when I got mine. So
me neither.
Yeah, it took them like, it wasn't a full year. It took them like probably 6 months for them to unbundle the Kinect, and that brought it down to the same price as the PS4. But yeah, Harley, what about you, man? I think Halo's a great answer. That's the reason I wanted to get this thing in the first place as well, and the fact that it's not here certainly stings.
Me personally is just money.
Yeah.
Price.
That's fair.
If I had the money, if I had like that extra bit of money, I'd probably go get one if it was in stock.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for us, like we play Xbox almost every day, so
yeah, I'd get so much use out of that, and the load times and the better graphics. Like, I'm a sucker for that. I love pretty games.
Yeah. Well, I don't think the price is coming down anytime soon, unfortunately.
No, it won't.
But I think you can kind of, both of you guys can kind of be rest assured from me that, you know, obviously the sooner you get it, awesome. But at the same time, there's no rush. No rush. There's nothing you're missing out on.
Not losing out.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not like I'm playing Halo Infinite and you guys can't play Halo Infinite. Like it's all the same. So, and that goes for everyone else out there too. If you get one, awesome. If you don't, hey, that's totally cool. Like, just get one when you feel comfortable getting one.
Plus, I need a 4K TV.
That too. I think that waiting to have a 4K TV is a must if you're gonna get a Series X.
That way you kind of get the full experience of it.
Exactly. Either that, or you have a really nice gaming monitor that has a 120 hertz refresh rate.
Oh, okay.
Because if you have one of those,
my laptop's at 144, so
you could plug your Series X into your laptop. Is that something you could do?
I can make it work. I'll figure it out.
You might be able to make that work. I don't know.
Stream it to my phone.
There you go. Yeah, that's kind of that's it on the Series X. Do you guys have any other things you want to ask me about it, or did I kind of cover everything?
You covered all my questions. I had 3 questions, and I'll read them out now because you've kind of answered all of them truthfully. So my first question would have been, which of the new features on the console is your favorite? And I think the quick resume was sort of your answer based on the way you were talking.
Yeah, I would say quick resume is probably in terms of a feature, the favorite thing. Obviously, I think the SSD is the biggest game changer, but the quick resume feature is certainly the best.
So my second question was going to be, do you notice any significant differences between the Series X and the Xbox One X? Because I know the Xbox One X is the more improved version of what Harley and I have, which is the OG one.
Yep.
So I think you've kind of covered that too, just talking about, the games you've played and just tinkering around and how quick it was to set it up and all that. And then my third question was, would you recommend the Series X based on your first impressions? And I think you said yes. Sounded like it. Yeah. Pretty positive review.
Yeah. So I don't have anything bad to say about it. I would recommend it to practically anyone. That being said, it's cool if you wait. That's kind of my asterisk there. You can wait, but I think I don't have anything bad to say about this console, man. It's been all, and I'm trying not to let my fanboy show here because I'm obviously an Xbox guy, but I just I don't have anything bad to say about it, man. I haven't had one weird or bad experience with it. It's been all really, really smooth and really, really nice. And it makes me feel good about my purchase. Sometimes when you buy something that's expensive, and you're like, oh, that was expensive. That's kind of your reaction. Like, oh, that sucked. It's like when I had to buy my glasses. I'm like, oh, that was $300. That sucks. But the
glasses can't play Gears 5.
They certainly, yeah, man, they can't. It just makes me see, and who needs to see? But but you know what I mean, right? Like you go to the dentist and you pay $200, and you're like, oh, that sucked. And you spend money on things, and you fix your car, and you're like, oh, that sucks, even though you need to do it, right? But the Series X made me feel good about the money I spent. It's not like I'm sitting here going, ah, crap, I should have waited, or oh, crap, that was a lot of money. I'm saying, yep, that this thing feels premium and I like it. So
Getting
Very
use
nice.
out of it.
yeah, I don't see this. Hopefully, it doesn't break on me. It doesn't brick on me. I'll keep everyone updated. We'll have a weekly like a touch point or section of like, Tony, has your Series X exploded yet? And we'll
Has it blown some
Yeah.
fat vapes?
Has it caught on fire?
yeah. We'll have like
Can
a
it float
news
a ping
update.
pong ball? Have you tried that yet?
Okay, that's also fake, by the way. That whole thing that's been floating around the internet. It does blow like it like when you're playing games. When you're not playing games, it doesn't really blow anything out of the top. Like, it's very, very mild. But when
Is
you're
it quiet?
it's
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a question. How loud is it?
it's whisper quiet, man. I haven't heard it. Like, even without headphones on, like it's nothing. Now, mind you, again, I've been playing games that have been optimized for it, but I haven't played a game that's been built for the ground up for it, right? So
Yeah.
maybe when Halo Infinite comes out, it makes it a bit louder. I don't know, but right now it's whisper quiet, man. Like, even when I'm playing games and I have 4 or 5 games, in the queue and quick resume, and I'm bouncing around, I've had it on for a few hours, like it's blowing warm air out of the top. You don't hear it, and the air certainly isn't hot, so it's fine.
Nice.
Yeah.
My Xbox is so loud. Whenever I load COD, it just gives this big.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
man.
really?
Ugh.
Mine's not.
Yours doesn't do that. That's funny.
Why is mine
No.
so loud then?
I
No,
don't
no,
know.
no, because I had a similar experience, man. My Xbox One X, like, whenever I booted up COD, like, it was, now mind you, it doesn't make like a grinding sound, but you could just hear it pushing out hot air. Like, it sounded like a
Yeah.
fan,
Oh.
So
I get the hot air. I can feel that. I
Yeah.
just don't notice the sound.
you have to
I have
okay,
a air
Like a
purifier
chainsaw noise
on,
is the
so-
wrong thing. It just blows really hard for like 5 seconds.
oh,
The leaf blower.
Oh, could you imagine?
it's like when I had
I've
my
seen-
Xbox 360 and there was a disc in it, and we turned it from horizontal to
Oh,
vertical. Remember that?
Oh no, no!
And then we just heard the
I had an
dun, 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 dun. It's just like, oh shit.
I remember I just
think
got
I
Dead
was
Rising.
there.
Man.
I think I
I-
saw something like that.
I just got Dead Rising when it first came out, and my brother had a friend over, and they're like, "We want to really play it," and I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess." So the day I got it, the disc got scratched severely bad because my brother's friend was like, "You can turn this thing up, right, and let the games play like this." As soon as he did it, it just grinded the disc.
Yeah, you
I
weren't
was like,
supposed to
"I
do that.
just got the game," but it worked perfectly still after. So I don't know if that's a Dead Rising
Hey.
thing or if that's like a 360 thing, but I was pretty impressed.
Discs can actually get pretty scuffed up before they stop working. For the most part, anyways. I remember not Cold War, my World at War disc. Remember that the castle
Oh.
map wouldn't load for me. I remember every map worked
Oh,
in multiplayer
yeah,
except for
I
Castle.
remember that.
So every time Castle came up, we all had to back out because
Oh.
my game would literally crash. So funny. Yeah, so I mean that's
Yeah,
the
now
Series
everything's
X, man.
digital.
Now everything's digital. Even
Don't
if you have a
have to worry
disc,
about
all you don't even play the game off the disc. You just install it off of the disc,
No.
and the disc is
Yeah.
basically just like a license, and it just makes you read it.
Yeah.
But
Are you planning on getting any games physically for your Series X?
no, unless there's a good sale. But
So not even Halo.
no,
Game Pass.
Oh wow.
I think I'll actually spend the money on Halo Infinite. As weird as that
Oh,
sounds,
yeah?
I think I'll buy it. But yeah, I'm a sucker. I'll probably buy like the digital deluxe,
Probably-
like the big one.
I'll
you
save
know?
my money for the microtransactions probably.
That's a whole other episode. Oh man,
If I see some cool Spartan armor,
yeah.
might.
They
The amount
See,
of money we've all dropped on
But
Fortnite.
yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
gonna
and
happen. with
me on
Halo.
COD,
yeah.
the way I see it is if I play a game a lot and I play it a lot with friends, I don't mind kicking like $20.
Yeah,
Exactly. I feel the same way.
times like 100.
And if I don't have to buy the $80 game on top of that, hey, it's $80 worth of who knows what I could spend on.
I'll rephrase my answer. I have Game Pass, so I obviously don't need to buy it.
I
But
just want to support them.
well, I don't really care about that because it's Microsoft and they have trillions of dollars. But if the digital deluxe or like the ultimate edition or whatever comes with a lot of cool things,
Oh.
I might get it.
Oh, okay.
And the only
Yeah.
thing that might make me get a physical version of Halo Infinite is if the super cool like legendary bundle that'll eventually come out comes with a lot of cool physical stuff. Like I remember the Halo 3 one
like-
came with the Chief helmet, like for example, like that's cool. So
I got the Halo 2 Steel Book one.
yeah,
So nice.
there's
Halo
certainly
Reach came with statues, didn't it?
Reach came with statues.
Oh
I
yeah,
forget
I would
what
have loved to get that.
I forget what 4 came with, and then 5 also came with statues.
I think 4 came with a statue as well.
It might have, yeah. Yeah, the Reach statues are
Maybe.
sick though. Man, those are awesome.
Oh,
The whole
wonder how
noble
much those are.
team,
yeah,
Yeah.
Noble Team.
they're all like high quality statues.
Wonder how much those are.
Oh,
I
I'm
might
sure
wanna
they're kind of expensive.
might look at that.
You might be able to find one at like a used game store, but I mean, who's going to into a store these days, really? You know,
Who's going in to buy Halo 4?
Wow.
we're talking Halo Reach, not Halo 4. Speaking of Halo 4, though, I guess we could talk
Sorry.
about this too, real quick before the podcast ends, because I think we're getting close to winding down here. But on Tuesday, so 2 days from now, MCC is getting its Series X and Series X enhancements dropped. And alongside with that, it's also getting Halo 4 on PC. So that'll be the last. They finally got everything on PC, and crossplay's coming. So crossplay between Xbox and PC will be a thing, which is really cool. And that's something you can turn off if it's if you don't want to play against mouse and keyboard. But that's really cool. I think that's going to expand the player base significantly for MCC, and it's just really great to see them fully bring that game out of the ashes, because we talked about it before, but I basically bought the Xbox One in advance and in preparation for MCC because I was so excited for it, and it just
That
had
was my
such
primary reason too.
yeah, and it just had such a fumbled launch, and it things barely worked, and it was a mess, and it was a mess for a long time, and to see it kind of rise to where it is now, and like they didn't give up on it, which I'm just so happy about. Because those are some of the best games, like just
Like Halo Wars 2. They gave up on that one.
they gave up on Halo Wars 2. But like these legacy games, I think it's important for developers to preserve them, especially games like Halo, like where they're so iconic and so legendary that it would be a shame if they kind of got lost to the I don't want this to sound cheesy, but to like the sands of time, you know what I mean, where it's just like, oh, you can play Halo 1 still, but you have to have a original Xbox, or you know what I mean. But like they've done a really good job of preserving Halo, and even though they screwed up with MCC to start, they've certainly righted the ship, and this last update with Halo 4 coming to PC kind of feels like the end of a journey where they've finally kind of combed through all the games and everything's fully out on PC, and almost every single issue that anyone's ever had with it is fixed, and crossplay's there, and the Series X and Series S enhancements are there, so these games are preserved for another generation. Like, I just really think that's really cool, man.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about like games, and I guess you could say art in general. Preservation is like, I look at a game like Wolfenstein 3D, which is a childhood game for me, and the fact that it's been re-released digitally, at least on the 360. I know like the last, like you can still buy it on the Xbox One, I think, on the store, and if you can't, well, it got preserved in the 360 marketplace anyway. And just the fact that, I know some people are sticklers for like playing it on the original hardware or stuff like that, but I think just being able to have the game still is like quite an achievement on its own.
Yeah, man.
And I think you're right. Like I'm really glad that MCC's come this far in general, and it just feels nice that it's got like a wider player base now. Like it's not just exclusive to like one console anymore, and it's good for us too because Kevin prefers it on PC. So come Tuesday, if he ever wanted to play it, he could easily just go on PC with us.
Yeah, and exactly. He won't be missing out on anything. Because before he was missing, Halo 3 for a bit. Then he was missing ODST for a bit, and then now he's missing 4, which admittedly we wouldn't pay too much for, but you know, either way, crossplay wasn't a thing. So like we would have to be on PC with them. So
Yeah.
it's nice that it's all there, and I hope that developers continue to look at this as like a almost like a stewardship or like a duty to like, you know, these games that are so beloved by so many people, like keep bringing them forward. And this is something that Nintendo does, and they rake money in because they charge full price every time. But you know, like Gears of War is another good example where there isn't a Gears of War collection yet, but I could see that happening in the future. And I think MCC's
Yeah,
kind
I
of
kind of
paved the
hope they
way.
do.
I can see it like an MCC's kind of paved the way for that, and like PlayStation had the Uncharted collection, and like there's a lot of examples out there and a lot of games I think that people want to see move forward with them, and whether it's childhood games or recent games that come out like classics like Mass Effect. That's another good example, right, where
Yeah.
they're bringing Mass Effect forward, which is a good thing. So I think that I hope that they keep doing it. I think they will because I think it's easy money for them. Not that I think MCC was easy money, because they've probably spent way more money on that game than they thought, just with all the fixing they had to do.
Yeah.
I also hope that all the lessons they've learned from MCC will pay dividends in Halo Infinite. And hopefully Halo Infinite comes out and it doesn't have any launch issues and everything works perfectly, and there's crossplay with PC from the start, and there's, you know, just all the things that they've worked so hard to put into MCC. I hope that that's just in Infinite right away.
Yeah, I hope so too.
And yeah, that's my closing thoughts here. Anyone else have anything else they want to say?
Oh, I'm good.
No, just thanks to everybody who's been listening, and
Yeah.
we really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. So, I know this was kind of like a little bit more than a week, but I think we can all agree that we're going to try to do it weekly. Whether that's a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, we'll figure it out. So certainly, we want to know what all you guys think. So leave your thoughts in the comment section below about this week's question, which again I'll remind you is, what would make you buy an Xbox Series X? And we'll read them in the next episode of the show. And if you want to stay up to date with Follow My Tracers here, you can subscribe to us on YouTube, and if you want to click the bell, you will be notified when we go live too. And you can always watch the VOD on YouTube as well, should you not be able to catch us live. You can follow us on Twitter at FMT Show, and on Facebook, and you can search us on Facebook for Follow My Tracers. For me personally, you guys can find me on Twitter at Figure9TV, and you can follow me on Twitch at Figure9. And my YouTube channel is also Figure9. And links for all these they're in the description of the episode. Any socials or anything you guys want to plug, your Xbox Live or anything like that?
Nope.
So my Xbox Live is the same as what you're seeing on screen now. Just search Power Grudge, all one word, and you'll find me there.
Cool. All right, I think that's it for this week, and we will catch you guys sometime next week. Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. We'll come at you hot with another episode.
Good one.
Thank you, and see ya.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.